10 years. It is very difficult for me to parse that. Still only feels like 5 or 6 at most. Granted, we all collectively lost a few of them back during the pandemic, so there's that. And if this is just one of those times that the YouTube algorithm has picked this video up and thrown it into people's recommendations, as these kinds of personal address type videos seem to do lately, then welcome. I'm just gonna yap today, but it's nice to have you here. There's lots of other videos in my catalog for you to check out. I wanted to start off by just kind of going down memory lane and looking at the channel over the years, see how the content has changed, talk about highlights and other things. If that part is of no interest to you, that's fine. You can just skip right ahead to my thoughts afterwards. But if this is your first time finding me, or if you haven't been around since literally my first upload 10 years ago, this should be a fun refresher for both of us. Now, YouTube says I created my channel in September of 2015, but that was only when I created my Google account. I actually started making videos in January of 2016, a few months later. Now, at the risk of causing some collar pulling, there's one channel I'd learned about at the time that really gave me the idea to try making videos. And that channel was the ever infamous Grade A Under A. Now, let me make it clear, the types of content that Grade has made is not what inspired me, per se. Rather, it was the fact that I saw one of his older comedy videos about getting out of phone calls and realized, man, this guy made a video using only MS Paint, and he's getting hundreds of thousands of views. I can do MS Paint. I could do this. And so I did. I made that first Destiny guide for soloing Crota's End, as I was more inspired content-wise by people like Tomska, Neebs Gaming, and for this one especially, Dado. If you go and watch a Dado guide, a lot of my own vocal cadence has come from his own videos, so thanks for that one. Then I uploaded a stop-motion video I made a while back, something I was doing for myself before I even considered YouTube, and then it was time for a new idea. I'd recently come to love a specific 3DS RPG, and I didn't see any kind of content for it on YouTube, so I decided to share my own team build from that game. And when that video started getting much more views than my previous two, I decided to commit to that. Now, I wasn't complaining. I absolutely love Bravely Default to death, so I was more than happy to become the Bravely Tuber. And when I mean much more views, I'm talking this one got 50 views in a few days versus the Crota video only have 20. Simpler times. And so that was the first year, making Bravely custom builds and guides, mostly focusing on Bravely 2nd as it had just come out that year, so it made more sense to cover the new one. I also quickly changed my avatar from the purple helmet to one more closely resembling the modern red avatar, as I realized it might be a problem down the line if my avatar just used a piece of Bungie's intellectual property. Right towards the end of the first year, I got a big Christmas surprise, an Elgato capture card. This allowed me to start recording footage from the family Xbox for the first time, and my go-to game would end up being Warframe. These videos didn't do great, but I'm still happy to have footage of my time progressing through that game, considering where I am now with it. The Bravely content continued, and going strong. We hit 200 subscribers in August, and a few months later, something big would happen. I went to university! Oh, and I guess the Skyrim video would be made. You know, that bastard dumpster fire that still sits as the best performing video on my channel at over 500,000 views to date. Please don't watch it. It's really bad and cringe. Watch other stuff and dethrone it. Still proud of that thumbnail, though. The Bravely and Warframe marched onward into year 3. But around this time, as I was making new friends and gaining new hobbies like binge-watching anime, I wanted to try making different kinds of videos. So at the suggestion of a friend, he would pick out some obscure or relatively unknown anime for me to watch, and then I would review it in a series called Locked in the Basement. For this series, I redesigned the red avatar into its current day form, and it has basically remained untouched since then. Though I have since unlisted the series for a few reasons, mostly scared by a period of time where anime companies were cracking down unfairly on reviews and hitting people with a lot of strikes all at once, it was a pretty big stepping stone personally. It was where I really began to start analyzing media and paying attention to things I like or dislike, what works or doesn't, and so on and so on. And after my partner at the time had introduced me to Clannad, I actually began to notice how I felt about different kinds of media, considering that that show completely broke me. Someday, I may reinstate the series if there were enough people interested, and if I had the time to watch more shows and keep it going. Bravely videos were not neglected during this time, though. I started using the now long-standing fog wall background in videos, yes, that's what it's meant to be, and also expanded into doing bigger lore videos for the series, inspired to make something a little more serious by Frederick Knudsen, aka Down the Rabbit Hole. They probably didn't come across like that, though. 2018 was also the year of the shitpost. While I was trying to increase quality and effort of some videos, I needed to unwind sometimes, and so I began making a few YouTube poop-esque Bravely videos. These were pretty fun. Might make more in the future if I get any really good ideas. Year 4 started off much the same. More Bravely, more Basement, started trying another playthrough series that I would eventually give up on. This year would go on to show a larger attempt at different variety content. Creepypasta narration, as I had just joined that community a year prior. Minecraft, Undertale, League of Legends ARAM shitposts. However, this year would mark 2 really big moments in the history of the channel. One of them was my first attempt at true long-form analysis. The Bravely Default Anthology was the first time I had to go do real research on something that there was little to no knowledge on, and it would lead to my first interaction with Komatsu, who would later become a good friend and Bravely Knowledge associate, still one of the videos I'm most proud of to this day. The second big thing was the announcement of Bravely Default 2 at the Game Awards in December. Finally, the first new Bravely game in the West since I started my YouTube channel. I still remember losing it on my friend's couch at their apartment in uni, and immediately starting to work on the video while I was still over there. Ah, good times. Oh, and we hit 1,000 subscribers this year, too. Good year overall. Hopefully next year is just as... Oh. 2020. The year where everything went to hell. Well, at least staying indoors meant more time to make videos. I made another long-form video, this time a 30-minute review of the entire Initial D anime for Locked in the Basement. We get Bravely Default 2 demo footage, more variety stuff with League and Pixelmon, a couple of retrospective videos, a card opening vid where I sort of show myself and my university friends for the first time. Then we reach the fall of 2020, and I start trying to live stream more by playing through Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 consecutively. We get another BD2 demo around this time, and I'm still experimenting with a few different kinds of videos. We have BD2 coming out mid-spring of next year, but I still have some business to attend to with another Team Asano game first. And that's where, in February of 2021, I released what I considered to be another of the best videos on the channel, the Octopath Traveler review. It was a difficult script to write, not only because it was the longest thing on the channel at that point, but also because I wasn't used to writing critically about something I wanted to love but couldn't. I was very open and honest, and I guess that came through in the video because people really enjoyed it. And then a few months later, Bravely Default 2 drops. I play it non-stop for 6 days after release, and then spend another month getting the reviews done for it because I had more to say. This was where I began to get into the era of really yapping with reviews, where I'm not trying to make something very quick, but to make sure I cover every angle that I actually want to cover. We do more lore analysis with the Knights Nexus Explored. FF6 streams wrap up. I start doing BD2 custom job reviews with you guys, and I'm putting out a new video every few days. I will say it here, that short period after BD2's release, where I was either streaming or releasing a new video every other day, and then taking rest days or prep days in between, that may have been the most fulfilling I've ever felt as a content creator. It was a wonderful time, and I pray that someday I'll be lucky enough to do that again while being able to sustain myself at the same time. I keep experimenting, doing videos on weird Bravely topics like the Choose Your Own Adventure adverts that were made for the first game. with my very generous friends pooling together to get me a gaming PC. I started playing through FF14 and streamed it, eventually making a review for both the main base game and Heavensward, the latter being one of the worst performing reviews on my channel, and yet was one that I thought was one of the best I'd ever made. I'm not blaming y'all, watch whatever you want. I'm just saying I'm proud of that Heavensward review. Later that year, I finally decided to replay BD1 and stream the entire playthrough to the world, and while it would not conclude until sometime next year, it was easily one of the best times I've had streaming. A good number of community memes erupted from that series, and at its conclusion, I would finally do my first ever true face reveal. 2022 was a lot of stream highlights of the Bravely playthrough and less original content. And the most likely culprit for that is because, a bit of a heavy drop here, but I was diagnosed early in the year with severe depression. Yay! So that definitely contributed to a lack of motivation to do anything, let alone make original new content. But there was some gold here and there. One of the biggest events was the Praying Barrage trilogy of lore analysis videos, totaling at nearly 3 hours of content to share its story with the West. We see more opinion piece type videos related to Bravely, some other games squeezing in there, a lore analysis of Pocketbook of R, the finale of the stream and its highlights. All of these were great. This really felt like the era where I was starting to get shit figured out. But there was something bothering me. Countless times over the last year, I was seeing Bravely fans arguing with one another about why the series was in such a rough state. Some blame BD2, others blame Second, and so I wanted to find the answers about why Bravely was so quiet. And eventually, I found some compelling answers, along with what I felt were reasonable assumptions, and put them together into the most important video I've made on the channel yet. How Bravely Second's failure harmed the series. This video was never made to attack the devs or anyone else. It was simply done to explain to the Western audience what happened with Bravely Second that likely caused the series to become so quiet. I say important in that this was one I made for other people more than myself. I wanted to get the word out there, and this video certainly succeeded in doing so, and I'm very happy to see comments from people who've come to understand the situation better now. After seeing how well that video did, how people enjoyed it, and beginning to find that I enjoyed making longer videos like that, my priorities shifted. I slowed down on making shorter videos and started focusing on more researched, bigger effort videos and projects. The Pocketbook of R Challenge series happened this year, and the resulting video from that, I consider it to be possibly the best video on the channel. There's an argument for it. It's definitely the funniest intentional video I've done, and it laid the groundwork for how I would approach a lot of videos in the future with short montage sequences. You can thank Maxor for inspiring that whole idea. Around this time, I began wanting to branch out beyond just Bravely. A video essay on an EDM artist that I really like, and the lore of his album, exploring the Bravely Default manga and the Way of the Sword questline from the first Bravely, Cyberpunk 2077 review, and a Goosebumps Horrorland retrospective. And again, as I said about the Heavensward review, please don't take this as shaming or view begging or whatever you want to call it. I just want it on the record because it is true, and it's how I felt in the moment. But those last two videos did really fucking bad. They performed miserably, and releasing two long-form, high-effort works back-to-back and having neither of them do well really put me into a funk for a while. Now, the last year or so, that Goosebumps video got picked up by the algorithm and got way more views than I ever expected it to, so I'm supremely happy with it now. The Cyberpunk review, can't say the same. Maybe one day it'll get there. We'll just have to see, but I accept it either way. So now we've reached year 9, and after finally coming to terms with how difficult it was to keep upping the level of editing on videos, especially with all the subtitles on the Lethal Company video, I decided it was time to move the video editing process off of my old-ass MacBook Pro with a battery ready to blow up any minute and upgrade to DaVinci Resolve on my PC. Yes, you heard me right. Up until Bad Invade in 2024, every video on my channel was made with iMovie 7. Call it stubbornness, call it laziness. I honestly don't know why I didn't swap when I got a PC to begin with, but we're here now, and I love DaVinci. This was a year of experimentation because I was learning a completely new editing software, and every video I tried to incorporate a new thing. How to transition, how to zoom, how to green screen or color grade, things like that. Motion graphics, better audio manipulation. Each video was something new to learn. However, that was not the only reason for a slower upload schedule. See, back in November, I'd started streaming Octopath Traveler 2, and when I finished it in February, it had a lasting and profound impact on me. And considering how important the first review I made was, to me, I cared a lot about that video, I wanted to really go in on this one. Cut to 8 months later or something, and I released the near 3-hour review in September of 2024. And people seemed to like that too. I started noticing that the videos where I'm really pouring my soul into them and being completely emotionally honest with not just the viewers, but myself, those were the ones that got the best feedback, and they were the ones that I loved making. It was a lot of work, but it was all worth it. I have gotten comments saying that this video was one of the best on the channel, and I thank you all dearly for saying that. So I suppose I would consider this the people's choice for best video. In fact, it's across both Octopath reviews so far that I've received some of the kindest words from viewers on any of my videos, and I deeply appreciate them. Which leads us to this past year, number 10. Number of things this year. First one, I became tired of pretending to put up with bullshit. What I specifically mean is, I became much more vocal against incessant naysaying regarding RPG discourse, mainly in the Bravely community. When the devs literally say, we have some news coming later this year, and then you get comments saying, you're just making this shit up, kind of pushes one over the edge a bit. So the filter's mostly off. I'm just going to speak my mind at this point. But that's not to say the year was spent only telling people to be normal. Towards the start of the year, I started trying to clear out my backlog of games and stumbled across a couple that were exceptionally good in my eyes, but also shared some similarities with each other. And that led to 8 months of work, which would culminate on the longest video on the channel, This Is For the Future. That script was by far the most linguistically challenging thing I've ever written, as I tried to naturally segue mid-sentence or mid-topic between every portion of the video in order to go over the entire story of 3 separate games and a book. And I would say that video is the most important one on the channel to me spiritually. It has the most amount of soul put into it of anything I've made, and I'm very happy with how it came out. I had no expectations for people to watch it because it's 8 fucking hours long, but it hit 4 digits in views, so I am satisfied. The 1000x resist video hitting 1000 views is all I needed. Of course, there was more than just the 8-hour video this year. We got a few more short-form essay/talk pieces out. I started my House Minecraft Surreal Horror series this year. And if there's any video I'm gonna beg for views on, it's that. Please check them out. Thank you. We also had the Bravely Default HD Remaster drop this year, an excellent way for people to experience Bravely in the modern day. And for its release, I was graced with a review copy from Square Enix, the first time in the channel's history of getting a partnership of sorts with any developer. That meant a lot to me. To finally be seen and offered that opportunity, that was pretty big. And I'm sorry I did not cover it as much as planned. Expedition 33 kind of sidelined me, and I'm still trying to get that review done, as long as the long overdue Limbus Company review. But that concludes Memory Lane. So, what has that 10 years been like? What have I learned? Well, I suppose public speaking is the first thing that comes to mind. I used to have a voice just fine, but now I understand my own cadence and have my own particular way of delivering things, so that's a good skill to have. Confidence in dealing with other people, on the ups. Self-confidence, no, not even close. In fact, that's probably only gotten worse as I question my own videos every time I work on them. Though I don't blame YouTube as much for that, so much as my own brain. Video editing skills are another thing, and some Photoshop abilities too. Before, I couldn't work either in the slightest, but now I can do enough to get what I want done. And if I can't, I know how to ask the right questions to get the look I want. Also, not using plugins has forced me to learn how to manually create certain edits, and it's been really enjoyable figuring out how certain effects or transitions in movies are done on my own. Biggest piece of advice I can give to someone watching that wants to take something away, just start making shit. You don't need a good mic or expensive camera, just the most basic tools and an idea. There's enough good free software out there these days that you can do anything you need to with relative ease. Audacity for audio recording, OBS for screen recording on PC, DaVinci Resolve for video editing, GIMP to make thumbnails or images for your video, and your phone is ridiculously high quality compared to 10 years ago. It was still good then too, but they're even better now. And there are tutorials out the wazoo on the web to help you out. And if you ever want to try doing YouTube, piece of direct advice, never make a channel intro video to start. Don't do the, hi guys, welcome to my new YouTube channel, I'm gonna upload no, avoid that, no one cares. Just make the cool thing and people will watch it when they find it. And besides, in this day and age where AI is running rampant, a little human expression will always go a long way in the end. Community is the mushy answer to this question, but it's also true. It feels nice to have so many people watching these videos and interacting with all of you, getting to talk about the games and media I love or have strong feelings towards. And the views don't matter a lot to me. If something gets no attention at all, yeah, that sucks, but it's no big deal. I can't force people to watch it. I make videos on whatever catches my fancy in the moment. That's it. Same goes for subscribers. Like, yeah, number goes up, feel good, but not in the sense of, oh, I'm popular. For me, it's, oh, this many people decided my stuff was worth sticking around for. That's extremely flattering, and I hope I can continue to hold your interest in the years to come, because I don't plan to leave YouTube anytime soon. And if I may be so bold for a moment, I'd like to ask you, the viewers, a question. Which videos of mine did you find me through or choose to keep watching from? I'm curious what the answers will be, so let me know with a comment below, please and thank you. I think spiritually, the last 2 to 3 years have been very enlightening for me, you know, trying to be more emotionally honest with myself and how I feel towards certain media, or acknowledging how it makes me feel. It's very freeing to not give a shit about looking cringe or whatever and just being open and honest, so there's that. If you were to ask what's the best video you've put out, there's a few contenders. This is for the Future is definitely up there, being 8 hours in all, super challenging to write and put together. Very proud of that. In a similar vein, the Octopath 2 review, which I really put my all into to show how much the game affected me and how much of an improvement it was over the first entry. I think the video on Bravely Second's failure is the most important video I've made, in the sense that it got the word out on the situation regarding Second's Japanese release, and I'm glad it has done that job. But I think overall, the Pocketbook of Art Challenge Run video is probably the best overall, and also the funniest. I just think that video came out really well. It's not super cringe, it's a solid length, not multiple hours. Yeah, I think that might be the answer. Honorable mention to the House Minecraft series too. And no, the Skyrim Vampires vs. Werewolves video doesn't even approach the list of favorites despite having the most views. Screw that video. As a platform, YouTube has changed a lot over the years. You know, remember when everyone was losing their minds over Kappa? Overall, yeah, I agree that the site keeps slipping with all the AI integration bullshit, inconsistent policy enforcement, having to use an entirely different platform to get a response only by stirring up enough of a shitstorm to have them acknowledge you. It sucks. The one that irks me is how every few months their design team just redoes the entire UI, and every time it looks shittier and more mobile oriented. Stop making desktop apps look like my phone. If I wanted to use my phone, I would be. But, c'est la vie. So, where do we go from here? Well, I still love doing the long form, and I have a few under my belt that I want to get done. There's still Bravely research and translation projects to do, like Fairy's Effect, so that people in the West can have something to turn to about those games. I have more RPGs in general that I want to cover this year, Final Fantasy 16, Metaphor, Nier, and more. But there's also some wider angles that I want to approach over 2026 and beyond. The big ones are collaboration and growth. I have been writing mostly solo for 10 years now, and kinda excluded myself from other content creators. This year, I want to start doing more things, making videos with other people, maybe start doing events with viewers and such. I actually already have a really fun Bravely collab planned for sometime in the next few months, ideally, maybe weeks. I just got to get it all together and such, but I think you're all gonna like this one. Also, other kinds of games would be fun. I've been doing the Shape of Dreams videos lately because I've been enjoying it a lot, and they did surprisingly better than most non-Team Asano videos on the channel, so I think I might keep going with that for a while here and there. But another series idea I've had is trying indie dev games. I get emails once in a while from devs looking to advertise their games, and I figured it might be fun doing quick, snappy reviews from trying these out. So stay tuned for that as well. More weird videos like the Creepypasta Book Rant, or videos similar to This Is For The Future, just not as long. I can't do that to myself again, not yet. So there's so many videos I want to make, and I hope you'll stick around to see them. But yeah, those are just some thoughts from an ancient creator, I suppose. Unk status achieved and whatnot. I'll send this one off with a thank you. Thank you to every single one of you who has checked out any of my videos. You didn't have to, but I am very grateful that you took the time out of your life to put me on in the background or sit down and listen to me rant about a game series I'm hyperfixated on. It means the world to me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I guess I'll see you soon. Here's to 10 more years.